Welcome to Pacer Nursing Power Hour, your go-to spot for real talk and real tips in the world of nursing.
So plug in, scrub up, and let's go. This is Pacer Nursing Power Hour, where students get powered up.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Dogs are barking again.
I was wondering how you got that name. So
Yeah.
now I know.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
We'll get powered up.
Today is a phenomenal day.
We say that, but honestly, I am very
Last night,
excited.
I always say this is an exciting episode, and I thought of the word phenomenal. I said I'm going to say phenomenal today. It's
I
phenomenal.
like that word. That's a word I use often.
Yeah, today's phenomenal.
We are excited. I'm excited that still though.
We just keep rolling with guest after guest, exciting topic after exciting topic. And today,
Well, Dr. Bridgman really, we haven't introduced him yet, but he really agreed to, we put him on the spot
Yes.
at Takeover Downtown.
Yes. So,
And he was
Right.
like, okay.
so for those who don't know, this is Dr. Bridgman. Drum roll.
If I'd have
Yeah.
known y'all were gonna do all this,
Provost.
we'd have been up here earlier.
Extraordinaire.
Thank you.
Yes. So we are very grateful for your time today. We are
Mhm.
grateful for your knowledge that you're going to share with us.
And your just willingness to come.
I know.
And
You
our
literally had no qualms. You were just like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
do
I was like, okay, cool. We got so excited.
I've only been on one other podcast, but this is by far the best one. So
Oh, see? See?
I think
the
we
word
can
is not
say-
out on your approach. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking you'll have no trouble getting other guests to come.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
We
yeah,
enjoy
no,
it.
we just
I mean,
kind of go.
People get tired of us two talking, so
I
we
know.
got to bring other
We just-
voices in.
You could just stop now and say, this is a great podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the nice welcome.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us. You are a leader here on campus, and I know I don't even appreciate the extent of all you do on campus and here for us as faculty and as students. But every leader was at some point in their
Well,
life.
wait, we said that he's our provost.
Yeah, you did.
What's a provost? I mean, a lot of students don't even know what that is.
So within the university, a provost is several hats, but the biggest is the chief academic officer.
Okay, so you're like the chief of nursing.
But in the college world.
World.
helping the dean and helping you all as faculty.
Okay, so he
working
looks
closely
at it.
together.
Okay, see, I'm looking at it from bottom up, and you're like right there in the. I feel like how you just said that, you're in the trenches with us, looking up as well, not looking down where I would suspect
Yeah.
someone at your level to be looking down.
So for me, I put the faculty right in the middle of everything we do. Our core mission is teaching and learning, and you all are at the front lines of doing that. The work we do is your work. And so what the provost does as the chief academic officer is to make sure that the faculty and the students have what you all need to be effective and to achieve your goals and to do the jobs you want to do. I also have another role, which is kind of among my cabinet colleagues to convene us together on shared issues that affect academics, but the solution may be in other divisions. So maybe if it's a student in a bookstore issue, that's admin and finance, or if it's housing, that becomes student affairs. And so where these issues more broadly connect to my colleagues, when I see them, I'm sorry.
No,
You're good.
You- real amateur here.
No.
I mean, we know it's a tight fit.
Mhm.
No, well, I like to wave my hands too. Is to say, hey, could we get together to talk about this issue and see how we might solve it together?
So I
love
noticed
that.
one of the new things that has hit your door was the AI committee, and I loved how you have so many people from various departments that are in on that, trying to truly define that.
Yep.
We actually had Ellis on here
Last
first
season,
season,
yeah. Oh, love it.
yeah, talking about AI, and
That was
we
fascinating.
know it's not going away, so we are. Especially Kings and I, we really embrace it and
Mhm.
kind of are moving forward and making sure we're using it the right way. But I love that we're addressing this as a campus.
Well, we must and we have to.
Yeah.
There's great promise within AI, and I think we can use it for good.
Mhm.
That if we view it as a tool that helps us be more efficient and effective, the great hope I have for it is it allows us to spend more time on the things that matter in our professional day-to-day life.
Like
And
face to face with
with the
students.
students.
Yeah.
Right.
In recent chats, I think the skill of verbal communication, podcasting maybe, but being able to talk about what you know and the information you're able to get from AI. Information is and facts have been cheap for a while now with Google,
Yeah.
but understanding what they mean is still a big skill. It's
Yeah.
the big core task of higher education for us to kind of know what we have,
Yeah.
Sure.
I
because
love it.
AI is not going to always give us the right answer.
No, no,
Oh, for
absolutely
sure.
not. I
Good stuff.
Well, I want our viewers, because they are primarily students or new nurses,
Mhm.
to gain information from this. And you were once a college student. You were once
A
in their
freshman. Where
shoes.
did you go to undergrad school? At
So,
Richmond?
my first 2 years, I went to a small school in Alabama, called Walker College.
Hmm.
It was a private 2-year liberal arts school that started during the Depression because the folks there in that part of Alabama wanted some higher education. From there, I then transferred to the University of North Alabama in
Oh,
Florence, and where I graduated with a,
so you're not an Alabama, like you're not the Alabama team?
yes, I did go to I continued graduate school at the University of Alabama.
Ah, okay.
Now I haven't parlayed that fandom into a reason for living. Um,
Thank gosh.
I'm glad they're winning. College football's got some real challenges these days, like college sports have had for a while. They've just gotten worse. But I enjoy watching them play, and I'm happy when they win. I don't go into a big funk when they
Uh,
lose.
Yeah.
okay, so you were a freshman in college in a smaller town in Alabama.
I
How
was.
big was the school? Was it comparable to USC Aiken?
At the time, the University of North Alabama was comparable in size. It's around 5,000 students.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Walker College was around 1,000 students.
Just
Okay.
Yeah,
smaller.
so
So
small. It's just the first 2 years.
yeah, that's like a high
Yeah.
school right now. They're so big.
Yeah.
High schools are so big.
So, how would you describe yourself in that phase of your life, your college years?
Well, I wasn't the best student, if I'm being honest. I was kind of friendly and social.
Mhm.
I wasn't a big partier, but I had a lot of friends who were ambitious, and they all had plans and ideas, and so I thought that's what being a student was about, was to kind of have dreams and hopes,
Mhm.
and to not take yourself too seriously.
Sure.
So kind of fun loving and friendly, and
Now, what was your major initially?
um, at first I was pre-med. I thought I wanted to be a doctor.
Whoa, that's a fun
I
fact.
like
Yeah.
it.
But I ran into a chemistry professor that didn't think I was cut out to it turns out he didn't think anyone was cut out
Think about
to be a
that.
doctor. You know how those chemistry professors are.
Yeah, I know, man.
They're hard on us.
They are hard. Yes, they are. I was going to be a stockbroker when I went off to my
Oh,
freshman
wow.
year in college. I wanted to work on the floor in Wall Street.
Oh, yeah, I could see you mixing it up down there.
Yeah, I would be dead by now
Ba
probably because
oh.
my heart. I would have a heart attack.
Well, and the
It's
others, there
stressful.
was something happened to the others as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But, I wanted to be a kind of a rural primary care
I can
physician.
see that with you.
Yeah, yeah,
There.
yeah,
I
I
can
could.
Take
definitely
chickens
see
and
that.
eggs on trade. Have a full stomach and heart, and make a lot of money.
I can see you walking with your bag
Yeah.
around like Dr.
Yeah,
Hazlitt
going from
on
house to
that
house.
House
medical
calls. I
murder
think
she
it's
wrote.
house calls, dropping by.
Yeah.
Maybe if the dog's sick, you might even look in on the dog.
Now
There you
that's
go.
now that's called
Yeah.
concierge service,
Yeah.
and you pay extra for that.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
missed it.
So,
I
yeah,
know you
see,
said.
you were ahead of your time.
I know.
You are an
Visionary
idea,
back then.
yeah.
Visionary back then.
So, at what point did the trajectory change where you were headed towards leadership? At what point did that come?
Probably early as a junior faculty member.
Okay.
I can remember interacting with the provost when I was, first year, second year,
Mhm.
thinking, I don't know what the provost does, but I don't want any part of it.
Yeah, that's my feeling
I was about to say,
right here.
okay,
Sorry,
so
I love that you're in there because I don't want you.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, but what happens over time is your colleagues want you to do things on their behalf. So
Yep.
you get into shared governance, you chair a committee, and people say, "Hey, you're pretty good, you're pretty organized. Would you take on smaller, bigger roles?" And then over time within that system, Folks kind of saw you as someone that they could rely on to figure things out and to help them get where they were going and to give them advice. And so then they want you to. I've had a very, I would say, traditional leadership path,
Mhm.
Okay.
beginning as a graduate coordinator and then moving from chair to dean to associate vice chancellor to
Now what's the diff
provost.
I love
Yeah, are
So, what habits did you start in college that really shaped who you are now and where you've gotten?
I think the biggest is being curious. You've got
Who
to,
else said that? Kennedy? That was our last guest said the exact same thing.
yeah.
Being curious is critical.
The one advice I give to all students, especially graduate students when they're heading out, is keep up with your reading. And when you
Mm.
start to struggle and you feel like you're behind, it's probably going to be because you're not engaged in your work. You're not reading, and it's easy to get behind. And so the students would they chuckle a little bit. I'm like, all right, take out a pen and paper, write down this. Number one, key to success: read. Number two is
Mhm,
read. Number
mhm.
three is read.
Mhm.
If you will do that, you'll be just fine. And so
Yay!
there's just so much to be fascinated about. I mean, eventually you
Mhm.
have to pick something because we
Mhm.
we can't be fascinated about everything.
Everything, yeah.
But
Mhm.
being willing to learn and to be a lifelong student.
I love that, and I completely agree.
Now what do you say to the people who say, "I don't want to be a lifelong student," 'cause my 20-year ago self or 20-year-old self would go, "That just doesn't no, I wanna get out of school, I'm done with school." And this is why I'm at 57, almost 57 in school.
I think that's one notion of a student
Mhm.
and where it happens and what it looks like.
It's not necessarily
It's not,
classroom.
yeah, sitting in the seat. I mean, we're learning when we're flipping through Instagram. You know,
Absolutely.
we're learning when we're on social media. I don't know what we're learning. We're learning something.
Can be variable.
We're probably confirming something. But over time, things interest us, and we
Mhm.
become experts in the things we care about. And hopefully, you'll find a lot of things to care about.
Yeah.
And I'm a political scientist by training, and
Ah.
so
Nice.
uh, politics is probably more immediate feedback now than ever.
Mhm.
But that participation is vitally important, and you see, as polarization has gone up, folks are far more interested in politics.
Mhm.
Having the right information about it
Is
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 also key and important, but our elected officials are listening, and they
yeah.
want to hear from us.
Yeah.
Our our role as citizens, is more important than the elected officials because we're the ones that collectively get to remind of our values
Mhm.
and the kinds of society we wanna build together.
Mhm.
And
That's
so
great perspective.
that's how I think the voices all fit together.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
Well, I just want to remind our students that are listening that
Yeah, we forgot
you
they're
know,
there. Hi,
we
guys.
are recording a
As
podcast
if they're
team.
over there.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, the
guys.
students listening to like connect this for you because it does feel like no offense to all of us in this room, but we've been there, we've done that, we're like sharing our wisdom and whatnot. But this really is pertinent to you now because this is showing you that leadership starts now. It doesn't start 10 years into your career. You start building these skills now and they snowball. And then it sounds like somehow you end up in this leadership position.
Yeah.
But it does. There were steps that you took to get here, and I just want our students to realize, like, this really does pertain to you now. So from all of your college experiences, how did you move into leadership? What did that look like? And how did you start beginning to make these high-level decisions for lots of people?
So I would say that my career arc, happened because, well, I wanted to be helpful.
Sure.
You see challenges and folks wanna get past those, and so you pitch in. I've always, been driven by results
Mm.
and counting, think of it as a scoreboard, and so for me, being able to take our programs and tell the story about them, about why they work for you, and you could envision yourself there, and that happened more and more often. We could build our programs, build enrollments, and then we could build a department. And then you move into dean level leadership and your responsibilities expand instead of worrying about one program and one set of facilities and one set of faculty, then you multiply that by 10 or 12.
Mhm.
And so the way you move into making decisions is you have to remember you can't do it alone,
Mm,
that you're part of a group, a team. And one truism that I like to think of often is we're smarter collectively than I am individually. That's an
Absolutely.
empirical fact. So when you start making decisions, you want to consult, you want to talk, you want to open up lines of communication. And over the course of my career, that's the one thing I've had to work on. We talk about later on kinds of skills and things the
Mhm.
students may want to consider as they're moving into their careers. We can talk about those, but um, you're trying to think a little bit long term and around the corner because we're stewards
Sure.
and we want to leave the institution and the people we work with stronger when our time is over in these very short temporary timeframes. We don't get these jobs permanently.
mm,
And so I think you have to be guided by those values. But as I've moved in and across those roles, those are the kinds of things I've kept in mind. There's
Yeah.
somebody out there smarter than me,
Yeah.
and I need to figure out a way to connect people.
Well, I think the huge driving factor for these questions today and bringing you on is when I was at the bedside in nursing, there were comments, and I was guilty of saying them too, like, "Oh, the high heels are on the floor today," or "The people from the top floor are here,"
Mm,
and
C-suite are out.
yeah,
C-suite are out.
and so there's this disconnect, I feel like, between kind of the grunt nurses and
right,
the people making this decisions for those nurses. And I think I love hearing your opinion on these because I want to promote building a bridge between the two because they can't function independently.
right.
We've got to figure out a way and see each other's point of view. And I think it's beautiful that you're sharing all this information.
Yeah, sure.
So when you're making these big decisions, you're weighing a lot of things. One of those big factors is money, right?
Right.
No, we
So
have plenty of
we
it.
plenty. So how does that come into your decision making? How do budgets influence what here faculty experience, students experience, but how can we appreciate that as nurses from like an administrative level what
Mhm,
they're seeing in hospital levels?
Well, in chatting with folks who have familiarity with healthcare, it seems like an entirely different business model and
Yeah, that's
it
true.
set of
really
That's true.
is.
driving forces. Specifically for the university, there's never enough money, right?
Oh
We're
yeah.
publicly funded. We have
Yeah.
more needs than we can address with the resources we have. Primarily, the two are tuition and the state appropriation.
Mhm.
But I've always believed in the power of an individual to take responsibility and to take things into their own hands and try to affect as much change and progress as you can individually by working with others and seeing if you could leverage resources.
Yeah.
Um, Related to budget, for me, I came to appreciate this several years ago that if you wanted something truly to be reflected in the organization and in our work, it had to be in the budget. Because
Okay.
if it's not in the budget, it's going to be hard to do.
Right.
True.
Um,
I mean, seems simple, but very true.
But, I
a-
mean,
and
yeah.
we try to pull off a lot of things without it being in the budget.
Mhm.
So one of the priorities I have as provost since I've been here is how do I get more resources to you on the day to day, so that you can take the students places, so that you have enough money for your research, so that we can build a strong honors program, so we could build a study abroad that's accessible. Because the thing that I mentioned earlier about you all being at the forefront and part of our core mission, and you being in the middle, is an engaged curriculum where the students are learning things, but they're also doing things.
Mhm.
Doing things costs money.
Very
And
passionate about
historically
that.
in higher ed, we haven't built our budgets around the doing and the activity in the classroom
True.
and the supporting of the faculty in your endeavors.
Mhm.
We've said, hey, it's your responsibility. Go do it.
Just figure it out.
Yeah.
But you got to do it for
Magic wand.
$600, you know? And so
We taught one of those classes.
I think that's kind of how I view it. And so my job is to gather the resources to make sure everyone has what they need to do their
Yeah.
jobs.
So how
And
do you foresee that though? If because you set a budget the year before,
right.
but say for instance, you, what Katie and I all we want the podcast as part of our hours
Okay.
because we spend what 6 to 8
Hours and
yeah,
hours and
yeah.
hours.
I can tell y'all are professionals. Y'all don't give up on nursing because we need you too badly in the faculty. But
But we
I
have a
think
plan B just in
I
case.
Yeah,
think a
we
lot of folks could take note from what you're doing here.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
We're and a lot of people like me who are us who
Yep.
come up with things that we want to do and we know it will work, but you can't foresee stuff. How do you account for that
Well, we try to
or
account for
plan?
it. I try to account for it. You need to leave a little room for ideas.
Mhm.
Universities are places of ideas. Ideas are going to come up that aren't in the budget, that aren't in the strategic plan,
Mhm.
but they're really good ideas and you ought to try to do them and see how they turn out. So you may recall recently we sent out a call for initiative funds.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we've been talking about that back and forth a
That's
lot. There's a lot of good dialogue between
oh
us
good. Yeah.
about that.
So those are coming in. That's one way.
Mhm.
Um, but if there were a way to expand that and it could become a permanent feature of our efforts, I
Mhm.
think that would be consistent with what we are as a place of ideas, that sometimes these opportunities manifest through the work. They're not predictable. You know that they could be mixed together and come about,
Mhm.
but when the conditions are right and they do, you want to be able
To do it.
to follow through.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
And so I think that's one way to know that that can come up. Now, the big ththing I struggle with is to make sure we have enough faculty.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and the deans will tell you whenever y'all are doing a search, I'm always asking, how's your search going? Are you because if we can't recruit colleagues, we're not going to have programs.
That's right.
And you can look around and say, okay, that college probably has enough, that college has enough. It's pretty clear here there's not enough faculty. So that's you begin to work on that because a faculty member is a significant investment. And then beyond that, making sure you have the operating. And so you start going down through your list of things that are musts, non-negotiables,
Mhm.
and then you get to, all right, how much can we invest in ideas?
Mhm.
And hopefully we get there. It's a little progress over time. We're not there yet, but
Yeah,
that's kind of how I approach it.
have a little extra spending money off to the side for people who come
Your
up for golf cars
your
and
golf
such.
cart.
Golf
I gotta tell you,
cart.
that's inspired the whole campus. I have now heard golf cart from
Ah!
about every college and school.
I
That's
mean,
fabulous. I mean, we
it's
could
a good
have
idea.
It's non-controversial.
I
logo.
know.
Who's
Yeah.
opposed to the golf cart? I mean, we
Yeah, I
have
know.
special
And
laws in South Carolina about the golf cart.
I mean,
It's got
yeah,
privileged
it's a
status.
thing.
it does.
It's
I
a
mean, we
thing.
live in like right next to the golf
Mhm.
golf course
Mecca.
central.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mecca. Next question. What misconceptions do you feel like employees have about leadership?
In general or here on
Yeah.
campus?
No, in general.
In general.
Students don't necessarily care about here on campus, for real. I mean,
Right. 'Cause
honestly. But in general, like, what can they take into their nursing career to understand perspective of leadership? Like, let's flip the conversation a little bit.
Yeah, I think
What misconceptions do we have
uh,
about leadership?
the one I've encountered the most is that there are sides.
Mm.
In higher ed, we call it the dark side. When you
Okay.
move from the enlightenment of the
Mm.
faculty role and go into administration, you've gone into a really dark place.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say there's a misconception that we're not all on the same team. Another big one is that there's an indifference or a lack of caring about what's
Mhm.
happening to the patient in this case or the student
Sure.
even the faculty, and that's not the case either. Now there are some leaders probably that
Feel that way,
a
right?
little bit obtuse and detached and not plugged in right, but good leaders care about their people and spend every day trying to take care of them. And
Well,
so
I can say that
you
you
can
do a great job. I've
Yeah.
never felt like that about you.
well thank you.
Traveling from location to location, and you always stop and chat.
Sure.
The
So
amount
yeah,
of things that y'all have to be at just
I mean,
is
it is. Your schedules are insane.
like you need a scooter for
You
graduation.
do. You need a golf cart.
I know, y'all do.
I am not going to disagree.
I mean, I told
Provost.
Probably put
stretch.
academic affairs.
A stretch. Yeah, stretch
Yeah,
with
you
windows.
got to have a 6-seater.
That's right.
There we
That's
go.
right. That's right. That's right.
What What pressures do you face as a leader that most people will never know that you deal with?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. I
Thank
wanna
you.
know
Thank
this.
you. Getting nitty gritty.
So historically, the job is stressful,
Mhm.
and I think the reason it's stressful is if you think about it the right way, you got 4,000 plus students,
Mhm.
a couple hundred faculty, and then you add adjuncts, you got another couple hundred staff. And then you realize that your job is to make sure that everything is situated in a way where the reason they're here can happen and they can remain happy and healthy and successful. And at least I do, I kind of internalize making sure that the things that get in the way of that or the things that threaten that never ever come to the forefront. Sometimes they do crop up, the elevator breaks, the water won't turn
Mhm.
on,
Mhm.
the computer doesn't work
Mm.
on a regular basis. So there are things that get in the way, but
On a regular
Yeah, I saw that.
I think it becomes, that's the part folks may not easily connect
Mhm.
is you want to do a good job for your people, and taking that on sincerely, you kind of have to grow into it and manage it. You mentioned schedule earlier.
Mhm.
Yeah, there are a lot of things on there, but over time you gain energy from those.
Yes.
That's
So for
cool.
example, faculty assemblies this afternoon, I hear y'all are going.
Yes, yes, yes.
You'll
It's
see
like
us.
written into our duty contract, yeah.
So one of the things that when I see that on the schedule, I kind of get a little happy and excited,
Okay.
Oh,
because
so I'm glad to know
when
that.
you think of what's happening there,
Mhm.
is our faculty are all gathering in the same place.
Yeah,
So
bringing it together.
these most important people to what we're doing as an organization are all going to get together. And so if you recall, I have a little spot where I give an update.
Yeah.
I have one thought every time I'm going over there, and that is the faculty are all gathered together. If I have one thing I would really like for them to know right now, what would it be? And so I don't take for granted you're all together. I think it's a special time when you convene the faculty. Y'all are convening yourselves, by the way. It's not me asking you to come over there, but I view it as a special opportunity.
That's a great way.
That is a
See,
good
I
perspective.
I always say I dread graduation day,
Oh, no. Oh,
but I say that just because the
It's my favorite.
but it's literally our favorite day. I
yeah.
get so jazzed being on that stage for pinning, even during pinning practice. I mean, I love it, and then here's the coolest thing you may not know that we do, but after pinning and before graduation, our entire faculty go eat lunch together
I didn't know it.
Every semester.
every semester, and that's like our down we don't
Right.
discuss business, we eat
We
good
just enjoy one another,
enjoy
like,
one another,
outside
and
of
then we
these
go to
walls.
graduation. And yes, the rest of the faculty know that nursing needs to be we will elbow our way up to the front of that line because we like
We
to get
do. We're
front
so
row
bad. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
tickets.
excuse me, we're meeting someone.
Yeah.
Oh, where'd they go? Oh, we're at the
Right.
front. Oops,"
But
like, "We're
yeah,
here."
yeah, you're right. Those things that some of those things that you're like, ah, like I do dread faculty. I'm not gonna lie, I dread faculty assembly. However, I love being in the room with everybody.
Sure.
I do. I love it. You know, I love to see everyone kind of coming across their own different table, even though we all especially nursing, we're really good about sitting in our corner. But I feel like it's like a conversation. Everyone has a conversation as they enter and go
Right.
down the aisle, and I love it.
It's
Yeah,
fun.
you get to see, your work, in just that small moment.
Mhm.
You contributed to them being there. They're gonna go off and do great things. We hear from our alumni, and, I know faculty have had a big role in me getting to where I wanted to go, and I think our students regularly tell y'all that. Y'all built a special community, professional community among yourselves as the faculty, and I hold you all out, and it happens in some other disciplines
Mhm.
as well, um, where you have an identity and you know what your goals are, and you build a professional set of ethics
Mhm.
that binds you all together, and I
Mhm.
think that's y'all's real strength.
Thank you. I think so
Yeah.
too. I love it.
Well, you've seen institutions from the inside.
Yeah.
How many different, though? How many different institutions?
Oh, so many.
I'm sorry, Katie.
Well, starting as a student, that 1,000 student private liberal arts college, all the way to as a student at the University of Alabama, which it's bigger now than when I was there. But as a professional, Central Missouri, where I came from, pushing 14,000 students.
Holy cow.
Um,
That was a culture shift.
yeah, 450 faculty members,
Wow.
1,200 employees. So you have a couple thousand employees, 14,000 students.
Wow.
That's
Um,
crazy.
um, and during I moved there right as the pandemic was starting, and so it was hard times for everyone. You have health uncertainty, you have budgetary uncertainties, organizational uncertainties because you're running budget deficits, and you have a lot of big work to do. So kind of seeing higher ed from all the facets, and I've been in a peer reviewer and accreditation, so I've seen different
Oh,
institutions
wow.
that way as well,
Like, oh,
and also in role of dean, primarily dean and provost. I've gotten to see all the specialized accreditation, so we greet people coming from other places, and they're always bringing that perspective. So if I don't know anything about higher education, it's my own fault. 'Cause
wow.
I've been around it a lot.
You've had the
Wow, so
Just don't
experience.
ask my freshman son.
okay, where
He
does your
he
son go to
knows he
school?
knows a lot about higher ed. He's at USC Columbia.
Okay,
He's a
so
he's a jazz studies major.
he's a Gamecock.
He is. He was in the
Love it.
band.
Okay.
So, you've seen institutions from the inside. What to you makes a department stand out?
That's a variation. How much the faculty and the leadership of the department focus on the student experience. You mentioned earlier about connecting leadership and people,
Mhm.
and I'd say the biggest is to make sure you know what folks are experiencing in the day-to-day life, what it's like to, not only apply and become a student at the university, what is it like to go try to buy your books? What is it like to be a student in a
True.
class? And so that becomes important in the departments and the faculty that pay close attention to that.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes them special because the students are attracted to that. You see healthy enrollments, you see subscription rates. They're not struggling for students.
Mhm.
And then those that focus on what happens when the students graduate as well.
Mhm.
Not only what's happening in class, but supporting them through their personal lives and then where they want to get professionally and building toward that. So, for example, nursing. I think that is it's a special school because you pay a close attention to all of that stuff, not only
Mhm.
while they're here, but whether they're being successful. Because I talked to Dean Chargaloff about it and the things y'all are trying to build to support students. And then, what happens when they go take that praxis and become professionals.
Now, you've mentioned that, we've said we have ideas, money is a factor. How do you decide between one initiative versus another that's
Yeah.
given to you? How would you choose to back that?
It's kind of multiple layers.
Mhm.
You want the spending to uh, do good.
Sure.
Our business friends would call it return.
Return on
Ret
investment.
ROI. I'm
Yes.
really, that's
I
not
say
how
that frequently in
it's
one area.
it's not
Yeah.
it's not how I walk around talking usually, but you wanna get results, and so you're trying to determine the probability of things turning out okay.
Okay.
Um, you also need to figure out if it's on mission or not.
Mhm.
How many people will some spending help? If I'm spending, $5,000 and it's gonna help 3 people, or if I could spend $5,000 and it
Right.
help 50,
Okay.
That's
Okay.
um,
I'm making
we
notes.
wanna expand impact, making sure that the success of whatever the endeavor is kind of broad-based. I think sustainability,
Mhm.
and I think more immediately, short term, what difference would that make? You gotta think strategic plan, core mission. I also look at track record. There's some folks that receive investment and they turn that into far more than you could have ever expected.
Okay.
wow.
And those folks, you wanna just see what else they could do. And
Okay.
so you they're a good investment and a
Mhm.
good place, that's
Mhm.
gonna make an
Mm.
impact.
Love that.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited. This
Yeah.
is making me
I
so excited.
You know what I love though, Kate, and Keegan and I talk about this all the time. I say this to every member of my family. um, I held out for this job. Like, this
Neat.
was a coveted job for me. This was
Yeah.
the ultimate job, and I held out for it, and I'm so glad I did. But I always say, "This place is about to explode." I mean,
Mm,
there's so many good things that are
right.
we know that are coming that we can feel, um, and I love that. I love that you support that vision.
Yeah.
Um some of us can get so tunnel vision because, like, our focus is here. Our focus is students. We don't
Right.
have computer cords, like they don't have anywhere to plug in their
Mhm.
laptops when they get here. I wanted to be an Apple school, of excellence,
Right.
because we ran into Apple at a conference. But there's so many things that I know we want to do, but we're like, where's the money? Why are they getting the money? We're not, like,
Those are good questions.
how do you, especially, it's like, for instance, our school down the road that got so many millions.
Yep.
I don't understand that factor. Is it because it's a longer, shorter term investment to get a bigger ROI, i.e., more nurses? So how are those decisions made?
Right.
We're limited for space, but yet we know we need more, but there's
Yeah.
nowhere to go. But yet there's a big, buildings going up all around us.
Oh, sure.
How do we
Yeah.
us people down here, because I know there's some things that are happening that we will never be aware of, and that's okay. That's why y'all are there.
Right.
But how do we know that our our needs, someone's personal needs, are gonna be met? Sorry, that got very.
So I think two things there in terms of trying to figure out, the dynamic you just described, which happened before I got here. I've been here. This is year two.
Mhm,
I think it happens when you have a very consistent institutional priority for something.
mm,
And, so expanding this facility would have been something you've been trying to do year after year after year.
mhm,
Since a lot of these things, became possible during the pandemic when the federal government was pouring a lot of pass through money into the states.
mhm.
And I would dare say that where you see those things happening, that was kind of their number one and it just stayed there.
Okay.
I'm not saying that, for example, a facilities improvement hadn't been our number one because it is. South Carolina is both growing in population, but it's also getting older. We need more nurses. We
Mm,
need more health sciences graduates, medical personnel,
absolutely.
in a number of disciplines. And I've chatted with Dean Chargaloff about that. So institutionally, we want to do that.
Yeah.
Um, Partnership would make it happen faster,
Mhm,
especially where a partner would have the facilities already established and we could just work with them to use them. But beyond that, then you have to build them. You have to hire the faculty.
mhm.
You gotta put the performance together and get an institutional commitment that we're gonna fund this because in the initial stages of a lot of these newer programs, new initiatives, they're high costs and you don't have students because you
Yeah.
got to get your
Mhm.
accreditation in place. You got to get all that
Yeah.
foundation going, and that's some overhead before you actually enroll students. So, to your question about your personal needs and the things you need, you got to work closely with your dean,
Hmm.
and she's very good about representing kind of what's needed in this particular school, and all of the deans are.
Mhm.
But where something is persistent and interfering with your ability to do something, both short term and long term, make sure that there's an awareness
Mhm.
and frequently ask. And if you see something happening somewhere, it's like, why did they?
Yeah.
Those are good conversations to have. Usually there's some answer. I think it becomes, if you could only kind of like that one message to the faculty, if you could only have one thing, what would it be?
Well, yeah.
And probably that's been their one thing.
Mm,
It's got to stay at the top. It's got to stay permanent part of the agenda, and we gotta push on it until we get it done.
mm. Okay.
Throughout your career, reflecting back on your college years and throughout all of your experience, what did you learn that made you promotable and also something that you look for in
Ooh.
someone to promote them?
Yeah, knowledge and experience are kind of non-negotiable,
Okay.
and so you have to assume everybody's going to have that.
Sure.
But the one thing I learned, and it was probably 15 years ago, that while your technical abilities and your expertise will get you a job, kind of your attitude and your values are what will help you be successful in that job and even be promotable.
Mhm.
And by that, I mean being positive, being cheerful, being an encourager, uh, focusing on others, making the work about others rather than yourself.
Mhm.
We've all worked with people who, we might call it being hard to fool with. Nobody wants to be around a colleague who's hard to fool with.
Mhm.
Yup.
Where you wonder how did you rationalize that? I'm not sure of logic. I'm not sure
Mhm.
you've ever met a causal model that worked. They draw these conclusions. You're like, I'm not sure how you got to that point.
Yeah.
But what I've always told students, and it's pretty permanent. Read, right? That's
Mhm.
academically. Is be present, do your best, and the third one is be nice.
Oh, yeah.
You know, be a good person.
Yeah.
Be somebody others kind of want to hang around with.
Sure.
Um, and I didn't know the language this until recently. If you are focused on others, they'll know it. It's the Maya Angelou idea that folks will forget what you say, but they won't forget how you treated them or
Mhm.
made them feel. You can think of it as golden rule if you want. Um, and I've always thought a good book would be kind of golden rule leadership,
Yeah, do
where
Oh,
Yeah, I'll
you
read it.
it
soon to be published.
becomes how you treat others. I think it already has. Right? Maybe I'd get accused of plagiarism if I write that book. But
We'll fact
you
check.
got to care.
Yeah.
Got to care
Yeah.
and be nice to others.
I ran across this quote, and I say this all the time. I've got to go back and find the source, but I ran across it because I was miserable in a job.
Yeah,
And the quote was basically, "You lead people, not organizations."
right.
And that kind of really resonated with me because it's true. If you don't have someone that supports you and is nice to you,
Sure.
um, there's no reason. And, people leave all the time.
Well, exactly. And when you're at these jobs long enough, I've had folks tell me, "Look, when I pull into the parking lot, I start to get sick.
Mm.
I
Oh.
don't want to go into my building. I don't
Mm.
want to encounter a particular colleague. I don't
Mhm.
want to deal with a set of circumstances." And coming to work ought to be joyful, as
Mhm.
joyful as giving a third of your life to something can be. And for faculty,
Sure.
you're working on average 50, 60 hours a week. So the fraction is higher than a third. And when we think about ourselves as leaders and the choices we make, can we make a decision that helps someone have a higher chance of having a good day at work
Mhm.
or one that's going to be a struggle? So, trying to inject discord, pitting people against one another, those have always been things that I frowned upon and disliked when I've seen it and heard it.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't be sick coming to work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Y
I remember having a leadership position, and the reason why I will not anymore is because I said, "I have 3 kids. I don't want 64 more." You know?
Oh wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would in hospitals, I think it's a very different thing, but, all you I mean, literally, that's what I felt like I was parenting FTEs all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned something earlier about learning and being curious.
Mhm,
We're all teachers. Even when you move into leadership, even if you don't say a word,
mhm,
you're teaching people something because
Mhm.
they're watching how you interact.
mhm,
They're watching where you go, how you show up, even if you don't utter anything.
mhm,
And so that's an easy way to learn.
mhm.
And the counterpart is people are learning from you. And sometimes you hope that's not the fact in the case. And so as our students are leaving to think about leadership, they've got to give a little bit of thought to how others might perceive them.
Yeah.
And that's probably the hardest part as a leader.
What do you think the most common mistake young professionals make is?
So what I'm hearing more and more these days is being impatient. And I've got
Mm.
youngsters
Which makes
too.
sense. I mean, we're, like, training with all of the technology and stuff. We
It's an
almost train
immediate
young
Yeah.
gratification.
brains
Mhm.
to have that instant
Y'all can
gratification.
help me with this, but what I used to hear is it took 10,000 hours to become an expert in something.
I've heard the same.
You know, it might be longer, maybe shorter. I mean, because we may have more knowledge now, but I know in raising young people myself, what I saw in them is they kind of expected to be perfect right
Yes, we
away.
see that with our students too. They hold
And
themselves to
The
this standard of
yeah.
expectation
perfection.
is perfection.
And two things happen. They're hard on themselves about it. But the other is there's a higher probability of giving up.
Mhm.
And so I think what I'm seeing more and more is giving up too easily, too quickly.
Mm,
Um, Not that you should accept something permanently bad,
Sure.
especially when you try to improve it and see if that's a one-off or kind of a trend. But having kind of a misconception about how things ought to be.
Okay.
hmm,
Cool.
yeah.
What do you think separates a good organization from a great organization?
Mm,
I think the great organizations have a relentless focus on their goals
To bring it back
and
to that mission
and
and
the people who need and want their services and their products.
okay.
And I think there is never a day that the great organizations don't consider what their employees need as well as, their clients, if we can use that term for our students, but in others, customers.
mhm,
What kind of question, this is off script, what kind of question could a student ask in an interview to gauge if that's happening from those first moments of meeting, like their future job, their
mhm,
hospital, that organization? How could they differentiate that in a question?
Yeah, I think they could ask what areas in the organizations have they identified for improvement.
Okay.
Oh, that's a
That is a
good
good one.
What
question.
data did you use to identify it, and then
Oh,
what are you doing? What are you
okay.
doing
Like,
about it?
I like that. I'm adding that to my repertoire. I usually tell students, don't let them just interview you. You interview them. Get out there and you see how that team is working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and in a more immediate thing, the thing that you can kind of get lost in it if you don't pay attention, you could ask them, "What are you working on right now? What problem are you trying to solve today?"
yeah.
If I
Oh,
look at your schedule, where have you set aside time to fix something,
I love
or
that.
give some attention to it? Because we all deal with something every day that we're trying to improve.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
mm-hmm.
and then so that's two questions, and then the third one is kind of what values do you bring, and how is that? When did you last use them?
Oh,
Beautiful.
Right.
yeah.
Man.
Mic drop.
Yeah, seriously.
Y'all are
Wow.
something else.
I
Wow.
love it.
That's some
I
really
mean, those are the
sage
best
advice.
interview questions I've ever heard.
Oh, well,
I
fantastic.
I'm
Well,
glad I went off
maybe that's
script.
book 2.
There we go.
I love that.
Interview questions to ask.
Love that.
Be just one page.
There we go. Hey,
They'll kick us out
succinct.
eventually. Like, I'm not answering any more of these
A
questions.
little bit
We're
of
done with
pit.
you. You are not hired. No, I'm
Trade
just kidding.
secrets.
So I have a couple of rapid fire questions for you. So the
Oh,
first thing that
Hopefully, I'll
comes to
know
your
the answer.
mind, okay?
Yeah.
What is one habit college students should start today?
Taking a moment to take care of themselves.
Ooh,
breathe,
yes.
breathe,
Yes.
breathe.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
We say
say
it all the
that all
time.
the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Breathe, breathe.
What is one leadership myth?
That
I feel like you're not saying the first thing that came to your mind there. You
I'm
smiled.
I know, I know.
He was
you said first thought, not fourth thought. The myth of leadership is it's double edged, but it's that leaders are indifferent and detached.
like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would agree with
I
you.
would I would also add this. It's important to realize you can't do it alone.
Ah,
Oh, yeah.
That
I like that.
because there are different models of leadership. You got this great person theory that this is the person, they did it alone. We do nothing alone.
no.
Yeah.
What is the number one advice you would give our new grad students going into their nursing career? What advice would you give them for working with administration?
Yeah. I would say be observant and to know that the responsibility for how good that relationship is not their burden. It's their leaders'
Okay.
responsibility. And that they focus on identifying a colleague they respect and admire and trying to be like that person,
Mm-hmm.
that let that be their focus. And the relationship with their leaders will happen over time, because I think eventually their own colleagues would want them to represent them on matters of discussion, importance to the organization. And they'll be naturally drawn in. They'll be seen as someone who's a true professional.
I like
It is
that.
Love
hard.
it.
It's hard to ignore someone who's a professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is all my questions.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, good.
I don't feel like I should be in the same room with him though.
No, it's like
Oh my
the
God.
knowledge is just.
I know.
Maybe
Whew.
like
Let me remind you,
osmosis will happen
we've
if I just
talked
sit
about-
close enough.
We've talked about golf carts, right? We've talked about putt carts. We've talked about fans.
I'm telling you, we hit a lot in a short
I
amount
know
of time.
we
We're
did.
pretty down to earth.
It gets real. It gets
Yeah.
real. Yeah, no, I'm so glad you came. Thank
I'm
you
glad
so
that happened.
much.
And when I was coming over, I'm like, hey, do they do video on this?
Yes.
We do.
Turns
we
out y'all do. Right?
Uh-huh.
There it
You
is.
dressed up for us?
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
By accident.
No, we are on. Join us on Apple, Spotify. No, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
yes.
gosh. All the
Yeah.
hits.
Episodes drop weekly on Wednesdays.
Well, thank you all for
Yes.
doing this. You mentioned the students, and we got to remain focused on the students. They're on the channels like this.
Yes,
They're
that's why
on,
we do
They're on
it.
Instagram and TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
Mhm.
we try to communicate with them via email.
I know.
And
Like,
of course, we got to be.
we
on their
feel so
channel.
old school.
I know.
Y'all are on their channel. And
Yeah.
so, students, this is golden stuff.
That's right.
Perfect match.
That's why we did it. We love it. We love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for all y'all doing, leading nursing and the
Thank
university,
you.
and for having me on. We'll see how this turns out.
I know. It's going to be
We
great.
appreciate
It's
it.
going to be
Come
great.
back and
It's gonna be
talk
great.
about horse racing and
Oh, yeah.
car
Yeah.
racing.
We have a lot of follow-up.
Yes, we
episodes
do. We
coming.
do.
We can talk.
We do.
We can talk food. We can talk books.
I love
whatever
it.
you want.
Love it. Love it. All
Well,
right.
to all of our viewers, as always,
Thanks for scrubbing in.